What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another highly combustible reaction. We're jumping in the next one on our Edgy Boots journey. Get over, show her all the love in the world inside an abandoned copper mill in remote Alaska. So it seems like we made it to Alaska. I know the last one we were in my neck of the woods, California, on our way towards Alaska. Get over, check out all of the adventures. Definitely go do that today. Itchy Boots is the channel. The link's inside the description. Let's go see what kind of crazy adventure she's gotten herself into this time. Let's roll. Shout out to Jan for the request, by the way. Let's do it.
Look at this, and then just the glacier at the background there.
She really had, like, go look at her videos. She just got a whole different way of showing you how beautiful the damn world is. No matter where you go, there's beautiful things to see and to explore. And just because someone else already explored it doesn't mean that you can't explore it for yourself.
Unreal. That's all from mining. How do you see down there?
Backwards? No,
Like whole mountains.
2% of the copper that is currently in use came through this building and out of those mines.
In the world, 2% of all the
2%
copper.
of the world.
All the copper in the world is being used right now.
Pretty impressive. I'm already excited.
Good morning, internet. It is 8:30 in the morning, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome here in McCarthy, Alaska. Now today I'm going to ride to the abandoned copper mine, which I wanted to go to in the last video, but then everything, well, I hope you saw the last video, then I don't have to explain everything that happened then. So I'm gonna go there this morning, have a look around, and then I'm going to continue. So now I'm right over here, so I have to backtrack over the same road, and then I'm gonna go, well, I have to go towards Anchorage to
Riding
have,
Alaska
that fork seal
in
repaired.
Alaska.
But today I want to end up at the Matanuska Glacier, and then after that I will continue to Anchorage, but at least I'll be on my way kind of in the right direction to hopefully some repairs. Alright, let's go.
Strategy. Ignore and move on. Most people be like, uh-oh, we can't go anywhere. Something's wrong with the car. Not her.
To the
She said she needs to go get some
abandoned
repairs,
copper
though.
mine. I really have to conserve my fuel.
Obviously, I think that we missed an episode or two, but that's okay. I like leaving a little bit of mystery to it all. Go watch her videos. That's what it's all about. I'm just here in case you haven't seen her. Then I'm introducing you to something new. I don't know, but go show her the love. Like, go check out each and every single video. It's better than watching any shit on Netflix.
Copper mine. I really have to conserve my fuel, because
I feel like she should be on the TV everywhere. Make sure we're gonna stay in 1080p.
the fuel station that I was yesterday didn't have any fuel, and yeah, that means I have to get back all the way, well, possibly all the way back to the hub, which is where where we worked on the fork. Luckily I filled up that extra fuel container, so I chucked that in the main tank when I arrived here. It is another gorgeous day. How about that? Let's appreciate this incredible Alaskan weather.
It's kind of crazy though. When I think Alaska in my mind, what do I think? Ice. That's what I think. Ice and damn sled dogs. But really, look at this. This is beautiful. There's green all over the place. They've obviously got their seasons as well. But that's the first image that comes up. Like, let's go do the Iditarod. Like,
Pretty awesome way to get to the abandoned mine site. Just by this little road. How cool is that? So before those prospectors discovered this copper ore deposit, the First Nations people that had been living in the area for a long time before, they already found copper in the area, and they actually found an area which had 100% copper. So those were copper nuggets basically. They didn't have the smelting techniques, but if you have 100% pure copper, they could just warm it up and then shape it in, well, any type of shape. So they'd have copper jewelry, and I don't know what else they really made from it. So that there was copper in the area, that was known. The Kennecott mines. And here, look at this, and then just the glacier at the background there. Unreal. Oh, that's all from mining. How do you see down there? Impressive size, right? So actually, this is all glacier. So the glacier runs all the way down here. And it's just brown because it's all moraine. So there's just dirt and gravel on top, but that's actually natural. So that has nothing to do with the mine. Where I'm standing now, this is actually built on top of mine tailings. So this is all mine, and well, obviously everything down there. But all that you see there is just natural and just all coming off the glacier. Here and there you can see a little bit of white. But even under that dirt, there's just blue ice. So all of these buildings were all part of the mine, and they've all been restored. So, well, they maintain it. Oh wow, look at that. Is amazing. So I'm first going to ride around a little bit, and then see if I can get into the buildings with a guide, because I can't go on my own.
How freaking cool is this? Like going back in time.
1900s.
The little crooked house.
Oh, that roof. It's collapsing a little bit. They had record snowfall here last winter too. So some of the buildings, they need a lot of repairs. See some old train tracks here on the side. Look at this.
Off to our right, you see the two-tone mountain. That's Mount Donahoe.
Okay.
The big white one back in the back, that's Mount Blackburn. The mountain range that is across the valley,
There
that mountain range out there, that is the HxCReact mountain range. That big white mountain over there, from this perspective, looks to be closer than the HxCReact mountain range.
Yeah, it does.
It's not. They're the same distance. They're both about 27 miles away. That mountain is over 16,000 feet tall. Those mountains are 8,000.
It's funny how the brain tricks you then in thinking that.
It is absolutely amazing. On the other side of the valley,
I like listening to this guy. You can already tell he's very passionate about what he does. He enjoys and takes pride in the history of this place.
there is a small pass that comes through on the north side of Mount Fireweed. That is called 4th of July Pass.
Right.
The reason it is called that is the legend says that when the prospectors were coming through looking for the source of the copper, they were trying to find it, and they came through that pass on the 4th of July. When the copper here was discovered, they had the mines. The mines brought all the material down. They processed all of it and refined it down to, through mechanical and chemical processes to where they had essentially pure copper ore. Then they would package it and ship it and run it down their train line that the company built.
Yeah.
A 200-mile long train line all the way down to Cordova, load it on steamships, and then take it to Tacoma.
Where's Tacoma?
Tacoma is near Seattle.
Ah, okay.
Puget
okay.
Sound.
Right.
So here we are at the top of the mill. The mill was built on the side of the mountain, so the gravity could help with the processing of everything, right?
Right.
Gravity's gonna let it all drop. It makes it easy, requires fewer pumps, fewer lifts.
Yeah.
It makes life easy for everybody. They used an aerial tram system, there's the remnants of one right there, to bring ore buckets from the mines down to the mill to be processed. Gravity pulled them down. They didn't have to motorize the thing. All they had to have was brakes.
Yeah.
So, you know, efficiency definitely was at its best. So, National Park Service requires that we talk about this warning.
Oh yeah.
All right, so caution, heavy metals such as lead, arsenic, mercury, copper, zinc, chromium, cadmium, and barium are consistently present in elevated quantities in the mine tailings and soil, as well as other places throughout the mill site. These are harmful to your health, and especially to children under the age of 6 and pregnant women. Really simple, don't lick rocks.
I'll try it.
So we're gonna go inside.
That's the best rule ever.
Get our hard hats.
Don't lick the rocks.
Wow.
As far as the engineering is concerned of how they built this place, I mean, think about it. They built this place in less than 4 years. There was no train coming in. So everything was built here initially, was all built by strength of back and ingenuity. These huge cable lines that run thousands and thousands and thousands of feet up the mountain. How much do they weigh?
Yeah.
Like, it's mind-boggling. They are anchored into the bedrock up at the top. Comes all the way down here, and then it goes over this thing right here. It is not anchored to the bedrock down here. There is a giant basket full of rocks
Holding
that
it
is
down.
keeping this tight. Which, if you think about it, it's actually brilliant. This was the other line. The other line came in, and you can see that giant wooden, you know, basket. You know, it's probably it's probably 2 meters by 2 meters by, I don't even know how tall.
Yeah. 5
Okay,
meters
just
or something.
full of rock.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how they kept the cables tight. As far as views,
That's fucking wild.
this is where the views are.
Yeah.
Okay, from here you can clearly see Mount Donahoe.
Yeah.
If you hadn't realized already, Donahoe is a crocodile. Okay, you can see his eyes up there on the top.
Yo,
Right.
it kind of looks
Yeah.
like a
Comes down,
crocodile.
you see his snout that pops up.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, he's a crocodile or
Yeah.
alligator, depending
Yeah.
on where you come from. There was a worker, his job was to stand there, and as rocks came down and hit, if it didn't fall through, it was his job to smash it with a sledgehammer until it fell through.
And make it
Oh,
fit.
I don't.
Make
He
it
was a
fit.
strong
Okay, now
some.
the shifts out here were 8 or 12 hours long, depending upon the specific time period of operation.
Yeah.
So there's a guy who stood there for 8 to 12 hours a day with
Swinging a sledgehammer.
smashing
That's not a guy you'd want to make angry at the bar after work.
rocks. Why do you think they called that thing the grizzly bar? The guy standing over it probably looked like a grizzly bear.
He probably did.
Absolutely massive. Because I mean, in my mind, I just picture some, you know, giant, burly, like,
Hulky dude.
Swede or Norwegian dude with a huge sledgehammer, just smash, smash.
Do you have any idea, like, at the time, what would the wages be of?
So wages here for just unskilled labor were about $5 a day.
Right.
Okay. Skilled labor would go up to about $6.50 a day.
So a sledgehammer guy would make
Probably only making $5 a
only
day.
making 5.
I've been
But
told
getting
that's
them
almost
gains.
twice what he would have made down in San Francisco
Right.
working manual labor.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
the wages up here were actually very good. The work here was, you know, it had to be a terrible place to work.
It seems like we used to do more incredible things for less wages than we do now for more wages. I don't know. We just don't build things the way that things used to be built. Freaking quality in products, quality in craftsmanship has gone down. Pressboard, damn furniture now. And we used to have beautiful, like, skilled people that took on jobs. And back in the day, they took it on for a hell of a lot less than we make now.
Yeah.
Okay. This is our first stairway. It's one of our best. This was the first place in the mill where water was introduced. Everything above us was dry.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
down here we have water. So the ore would have come down onto 2 shaker assemblies, which these are very sad remains of what was here. We have a much better example of one downstairs.
Right.
But this is where they would start sorting the ore, okay, based on weight. So from here, we're going to go downstairs. Now this is the worst ladders we have, ship's ladders.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Those are
They had to take out the good stairs that we used to have here because they added a whole bunch of structural members to help shore up the building a couple of years ago. Backwards,
No
that is by
problem.
far the easiest way.
Yeah. All right. Well, good thing I worked on ships for a long time, so.
Oh, well, you're an old hat at this then. The big difference between one shaker and the next was the size of the screen that was in it. That screen, you know, the finer or smaller the openings, it was just for separating material. Now, the way this machine worked is the ore would come down through here in a slurry.
Yeah.
This line would be spraying water down onto it, and it would shake like that.
Okay.
Very, very rapidly. That one moved at
Must have been
180
loud in there.
RPMs.
So it must have been a really noisy room.
Can you
Yeah.
imagine how noisy this place was? Upstairs, you've got 2 rock crushers. You've got
Yeah.
the giant Swede with his huge sledgehammer. You've got 2 of these above us,
Yeah.
and 2 here.
Oh
And it just
my
gets louder as
God.
we go.
Yeah.
This building had to be absolutely deafening.
You must have, like, from across the valley, you probably could hear it.
Legend says that they could hear the mill in McCarthy all year long. Now, in this room, this is the first place where we get to see a heater. There was our heater.
Oh yeah.
That heater, really, the purpose of heat in this building had absolutely nothing to do with employee comfort. The only reason they had heat in this building was to keep the water lines from freezing. So, going down from here, this next room, we have the 2 largest
We are really
crushers
descending
that are
into
in
it.
in the mill. All right, now these
That
crushers
was dangerous.
these crushers came in on the train. They were not here when the mill, during the initial construction. The legend says when the train showed up, it unloaded a bunch of people, it unloaded a bunch of materials, equipment, lumber. They loaded it back up with copper ore, and 3 days later it left, full. It was insured for $250,000 in copper ore. That was the most any insurance company in the world was willing to insure. Nobody really knows exactly how much copper ore was on it. They know that it was more than $250,000 on the first load, and it left 3 days after the train first got here. These 2 machines here, these are 2 different types of crushers that were used in the plant. Okay, once these were installed, these became the heavyweights for smashing big rocks into little teeny rocks. It's basically just 2 drums that are rotating like this.
Yeah.
Okay, and they smash the rock between them. Now, to adjust the drums, the gap between them,
Yeah.
that's what this giant cog was for. They were trying to make the rocks small like these guys.
Yeah.
That's the size they wanted. You could spend years
Yeah.
studying this.
I imagine.
They actually, as we go down, I'll start pointing out some markers to you, some placards have been put on
Greatest
the
guide
building.
ever.
There was a couple of locals, one of our guides many years ago, an engineer and a couple of Park Service guys that went through, and they spent months going through this building trying to figure
understand
out
how it worked.
how everything worked, and they tagged and labeled everything as they went down. One of them was a mining expert, you know.
And even he couldn't
and it
immediately.
took them months to figure out
Yeah.
how everything worked in here.
How they did it.
So the cool thing about these machines is they were run by those giant canvas belts.
Yeah.
That's how these machines operated. They would have an electric motor.
Seems like a very
running the drive
dangerous
axle,
work environment.
and then they would have multiple pulleys, multiple flywheels, based on, that would get them the gearing ratio that they needed to run the equipment. This thing would have had rocks sliding down it
Yeah.
in water, like so loud. All right, now here's the other kicker about these 2 machines. All right, I want to say, and I forget which, one of these machines weighs over 30 tons. We're 150 feet above the road.
Yeah.
How did they get it up here?
Yeah.
Train brought it in
Yeah.
down at the bottom of the hill,
Yeah.
and then they built a track assembly and a huge winch, winched these up the side of the mountain, and then brought them through that door. You can see the tracks are still on the floor
Oh yeah.
that they rolled these things in on.
Yeah.
Now, between these 2 machines here, vibrating and making noise. The shakers we've seen upstairs vibrating and making noise. Everything here is moving. Now this building is the largest freestanding wooden structure in Alaska. It is the 4th largest freestanding wooden structure in the world. Now, what that means
And
is...
it's constantly vibrating. Nails and vibration. Eventually things fall apart. God, it would be overwhelming to work in there when that thing was going full speed.
It doesn't have a concrete foundation, and it doesn't have a steel frame. This whole building is built out of wood, literally on the side of the mountain.
Shaking violently with...
Exactly. So at some point, while they were working, somebody realized, hey, we got a problem. This building is starting to fall off the mountain. So their solution was they went and added a retrofit at that point, which is, it's kind of difficult to see because the sun's shining through the window. It is these things right here, these giant turnbuckles.
Yeah.
Okay. There's several of these that go from the mountain down all the way around the building on the other side and back up.
And they held it back.
They
back
held
on
it
its
back.
place.
The National Park Service tells us that this was the wrench used to adjust those. I don't know about you, but if you look at this thing, I mean, my hands are kind of big.
Nice
and
little tool.
I would hate to be the guy who has to work this. Now, also, you can see the
Hell
square
no.
hole at the bottom.
Yeah.
That was for turning bolts
Right.
like that. Like,
Maybe this was also Sledgehammer guy was doing this.
I'm gonna need a big ass cheater bar.
let's come down
What
here,
is this?
because you'll be able to see.
There's just, I don't know where to look. There's so
There's-
much
yeah,
going on.
So the ore is coming down from the chutes above us, and then it's coming into this machine, and then there's two more over here that are just like it. This box moved in what's called a circular square pattern.
Right.
Okay, so it would have gone over, up, over, down. This guy was moving. I want to say it was either 180 or 200 RPMs. Very, very rapidly.
Yeah.
Very, very noisy. Our ore is coming down through here with water and then landing in here. Then as this machine is doing this, what it's doing is it's tossing the gravel up. As it tosses it up, the limestone is light enough to where it would start jumping from one basket to the next, working its way down the line. The copper ore is heavy enough where it won't bounce as much or as far, and it's going to be able to drop through the holes.
There.
When they shut down the mill, this gravel
Was just still laying here.
was there.
Yeah.
Okay. Now here we also have a heater right here, but this one makes it real obvious.
Damn
The only thing
ingenious.
they're worried about is the plumbing. And this heater, its only purpose would have been to keep these pipes from freezing in the middle of the winter. And then looking out, you can see all the pulleys that are on these drive axles that were running equipment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, these were those belts?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You can see this belt right here was running something over there.
Yeah.
And this would have been a flywheel. Yeah, these are both flywheels.
Wow.
Because I don't see what this would have run to.
There is so much going on. Like, yeah, how do you even start building this?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like every inch is in use for some sort of.
Yes. Yes. And they obviously they didn't do anything for like comfort. It was purely everything
all
was for
functional.
efficiency.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know. But yeah, this was the workshop, you know.
They had a pretty nice view up here too.
Oh, the views are amazing.
Yeah, the views are amazing, but we don't want to fall off the side of the mountain into the view.
The craftsmanship in this building is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
For the guys that built it.
Yeah.
Like, all these boards that were cut, like that was a handsaw.
Yeah.
That did all of these.
Yeah.
They might have hand drilled all of these bolt holes. Like the majority would have been hand drilled. It's just absolutely amazing when you start looking around at the joinery, you know, and it's like these guys did this in Alaska, 200 miles from the ocean. There was no town here. The town was building as they built this place, and they worked on it all year long. Like they didn't shut down in the winter when it got cold.
No,
Like,
just kept on going.
Just keep going. And here we are, 110 years later, and it's still standing.
Yeah.
And it sat abandoned and
Yeah.
neglected
Yeah.
for the better part of a century. So here, we're going to start seeing our shaker tables. There's several floors of these tables. Okay, now these shaker tables work just like a gold shaker table. We've all seen those on
Yeah.
TV. As the table moves, the slurry gets dropped in that corner
Yeah.
from a pipe.
Yeah.
Okay, clean water would get dropped into that through a pipe, and then as the table is shaking, the operator would use those little diamond-shaped things. They were called dogs. He
Yeah.
would twist those to adjust the water flow out on the table.
Yeah.
And the water would wash the limestone off and allow the copper to make its way to the end of the table and drop into the catch over there. This huge thing, if you look down,
Oh, wow.
would have come in behind horses or dogs. in the
No
winter,
way. And then assembled.
And then assembled on site.
Wow.
We've noticed everything is run by drive belts, right?
Yeah.
All these belts are coming off of the same common axle.
Yeah.
So one motor is
Yeah.
running all of these machines, okay? Now this entire floor would have only had one technician running all of these machines. What I could do is, as this belt is being driven by the axle, I grab this handle and I could just simply pull this over.
Huh.
And the belt would slide onto this wheel,
Yeah.
shutting the machine down so I can do the maintenance or adjustments. And then when I'm ready to put it back online, I just push that over and it would slide back onto the drive wheel and keep rolling. So as far as the amount of copper that they found,
It's
here
really
in
mind-boggling.
these mines, because they were so large and so rich, that as much as 2% of the copper that is currently in use came through this building and out of those mines.
In the world. 2% of all the
2%
copper.
of the world.
All the copper in the world is being used right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, the reason that it is that number is copper is so easy to recycle, and it is so common to recycle it. It's not like it's, consumed.
Yeah, exactly.
And so once it's been pulled out of the ground, it pretty much gets put into the pool and is getting used over and over and over. You go demolish a building, you recycle the copper up.
Okay.
And from there, it would then be bagged in used burlap coffee bags.
That seems a bit random.
Well,
Well, nothing is
Again?
random in this place, so.
several months of the year, this place is frozen. If I go and take all of this copper ore and I fill like a big train car full of ore,
Yeah.
what's going to happen? It's going to freeze. How am I going to get it out of the train car and onto the boat?
Yeah.
So what they did is they bagged it. You can see they would use old burlap coffee bags.
Amazing.
They would fill them full of ore, stitch it shut, and they can
Yeah.
unload it
Yeah.
when it gets down to Cordova. So they would have pulled a lever, been standing here,
Yeah.
fill a bag up with copper ore.
Yeah.
You imagine how heavy this bag is?
No,
Full of rock, and then stitch it shut. There was you can still see the remnants of the conveyor belt assembly.
Yeah.
They would toss it on there, and then it would go down the conveyor to the storage.
Yeah.
So that when the train came in, they could just load the train
Yeah.
and send it out.
So the trains would just come right here
Yep. Train
and
would
then
go right through here.
straight be loaded up with the bags.
There would have been guys, when the train came in, there would have been
Yeah.
guys standing up there, filling bags,
Yeah.
dropping it onto this. This would be out onto the train.
Yeah.
And they would fill bags and stack the train here.
Yeah.
That, you can see,
Oh,
is
yeah.
the train loaded
Wow.
with bags of copper ore.
Yeah.
That's a
6,
lot.
7 layers.
Jesus Christ.
We also had mishaps like that because the ground in Alaska, okay, if it is not really rocky, it's really
Yeah.
boggy. That's a train that got snowed in.
Yeah.
We're gonna head down the stairs.
Okay.
Well, it just keeps going, don't it? It never stops. This is a ginormous building.
So at the time, early 1900s, they would use acid leaching to pull the copper out of the host stone.
Yeah.
The problem is with this limestone, it dissolved both of them. So they could not acid leach here like was being done in other areas in the world. As far as efficiency and the amount of copper they were able to get out of the rock, mechanically, they were operating at about a 60 to 70% efficiency rating.
Right.
Okay, that's where this comes in. Okay, so the way this worked is over on that side they had tanks that they would put the tailings that had been mechanically separated. They would put those tailings in. They would then fill those tanks with ammonia, all right, and they would heat it, and they would leave it there for days, okay. And then after the specified time period, the ammonia would be pumped out of those tanks and into these tanks. These tanks would then be heated, and the ammonia would be boiled off, leaving just the copper ore inside the tanks. So it was some lucky guy's job to go.
Nope.
Oh no.
Nope.
Inside?
Unbolt it and go inside and scrape all the copper from the inside. Like, yeah, what health hazards came out of it?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
They would boil off the
Pretty
ammonia.
sure that needs some sort of
and
close quarters
then it would go
waiver.
through all of the equipment above us, where it would be condensed and then reintroduced back into the process.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, they had a lot of leaks. Like you see that old lumber up there. That's that bright teal. Okay, that's copper.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that's where ammonia was leaking. You look at these tanks. You can see this is copper.
Yeah.
That's copper. This is where ammonia was leaking out of these tanks.
So then what was the efficiency then? Including...
It took the efficiency up to the low 90s.
Right.
Depending upon which literature you're looking at.
Yeah.
There's literature that is out here saying anywhere from 90 to 95% efficiency by adding this process.
Wow, that was incredible.
It was more than incredible.
Just
it was a
walking
damn
through a
super adventure.
14-story copper mill building from the early 1900s. I mean, so now it is time to go. I spent a lot of time here.
I don't want to leave yet.
Almost 1 o'clock now, and I think it's still a 5-hour ride. Back at the footbridge or motorcycle bridge. Where all the cars have to stay on the other side.
It's like a bird flying around wherever.
Back
Oh,
over the Copper River.
no.
It's a bit of a scary, scary drop. Look at that.
Just a bit. Just a little wee bit.
Amazing. I just came from those mountains over there. Yes. Is it petrol or is it only diesel? I think both. This is very good.
How's the fork seal?
Huh?
How's the fork seal?
Still up?
It's still up. You're shitting me.
Oh, this I haven't checked it the last bit, but this morning it was still, yeah. Oh, look at this! Awesome. Wow. Not a bad place. So Alaska is tucked in for the night. Look at this view from here. Oh, it was another incredible
It gets
day.
to rest in some
I
of the
thought it
most
was
amazing places.
So fascinating seeing that mill and just hearing all the stories. So I also hope that you liked the tour around there. And then yeah, it was just a nice ride. I had planned some more detours, but well, I couldn't do them for two reasons. First was that I was running really low on fuel because I couldn't fill up in the previous video, and the second was that I don't really want to go too crazy with only one fork left basically, so I first need to fix that. But anyway, it was a fantastic day, really enjoyed it, so I hope you liked it too. If you did, please give me a big thumbs up, subscribe down below, and then I'll see you in the next video.
Hey, her link is popping up right here on the screen. If you haven't checked out all of the adventures, go do it. You're missing out. You're missing out on not only like beautiful views. It's not just like she's traveling around and driving through these places. She stops. We get to learn history. We get to learn a whole bunch of things. This was a crazy feat of like ingenuity. Just the entire building had a purpose, and it was terrifying. And we were on the side of a mountain, and Lord knows we could have vibrated off if it was still in operation. Get over, show Itchy Boots all the love in the world. The links inside the description or right up here on the screen. Like I said, hey, she deserved to be on my TV. That's where we need her. We need like her own National Geographic Discovery Channel Itchy Boots series. Hit the like button if you liked it, the dislike button, but it won't believe you. Tell the next one of my Combustible. You guys be happy, healthy, safe. I love you to the moon and back. Peace.